Hi, I'm Melissa Clark from the dining section. Everything tastes better with chocolate, right? Thanksgiving included. I'm going to show you how to add a little bit of chocolate to your Thanksgiving desserts. This year, along with the usual pies, pumpkin, pecan, apple, I'm going to serve a chocolate souffle cake with caramelized butternut squash on top. First thing I'm going to do is caramelize the butternut squash. I've got a pound of it here, cut into 1-ish inch cubes, and then I'm going to simmer it with maple syrup, honey, a cinnamon stick, a little pinch of cloves, and then a vanilla bean. Then to split it, just flatten it out on a cutting board, and then take a little paring knife and just run it along the length. Now I'm going to take the back of my knife and I'm going to scrape out all the seeds that are on the inside. I'm going to add it just to the maple syrup. And then I'm going to throw in the pods into the pan as well, just to give it that extra little bit of flavor. Throw all of this into a big pan. You want the butternut squash to be in one layer, so use the biggest skillet you have. And I'm going to bring it to a simmer before I add the squash. So, for the complete recipe, go to nytimes.com/dining. Cover the pan and simmer it for 8 minutes. In the meantime, you can start on the souffle cake. First thing to do is to prepare the pan. I have a 9-inch springform pan. Springforms are great for souffle cakes because you don't have to worry about unmolding it. You just pop the sides off and serve it right from the bottom of the pan. I've got softened butter here, about a teaspoon. I just spread it all over the bottom of the pan and the sides. And then usually when you grease a pan, you often flour the pan. But if I floured this pan and then I poured chocolate batter in, I would be left with this white coating on the outside. Not pretty. So instead, use cocoa powder. I usually do this over the sink. That way anything that is going to fall will fall down the drain. In this bowl, I've got 10 ounces of bittersweet chocolate. You want to put it in a metal bowl because I'm going to melt the chocolate over a water bath. I'm going to add butter and a little bit of fine sea salt. You see how nice and snug this bowl fits? And what you want is the steam to melt the chocolate. So you don't want the bottom of the bowl to be touching the water. And just stir it so that it all melts evenly and the bottom doesn't scorch. After 8 minutes, you want to uncover the squash. I'm going to give it a stir and then just let it finish caramelizing and condensing. The squash is ready. I know I'm just going to let this cool. You can make the squash a few days ahead and stick it in the fridge. Now the chocolate has melted. I've let it cool for a few minutes. I'm just going to add some vanilla extract. Now I'm going to mix the rest of the cake right in the bowl with the chocolate. What causes a chocolate souffle cake to rise and then to fall, which is its trademark, is beaten eggs. So first I have to beat egg yolks, and then I have to beat egg whites, and then I'll mix them together with the chocolate. I've got 5 egg yolks here. I'm going to beat them with a 1/4 cup of sugar, about. I'm just trying to beat a little bit of air into the egg yolks and also to help mix them with the sugar. They look good. So you just want to do this until it looks creamy. In recipes like these, it really helps if you have an extra bowl and an extra beater for your mixer. Now I'm going to beat up the 5 extra large egg whites. The trick to beating egg whites is to start the mixer out slow and then gradually raise the speed. You get a more stable result. When the egg whites start to hold their shape, you can see they're starting, that's when you want to add a little more sugar. Okay, and that's what you want, just like that. Make sure not to add the eggs to the chocolate until the chocolate is absolutely cool at room temperature. You can test it just like you test a baby bottle, a little on your wrist. Yep, it's cool. And you know, don't waste it. First thing is to add the yolks. I'm just going to fold them in with a spatula. If you add the eggs to warm chocolate, the heat is going to deflate the eggs and you're not going to get as much of a rise. And just gently fold it in. Now I'm going to add half of the egg whites. Take your time with the folding. This smells so good. It just smells like chocolate. You don't want to rush it along. And then add the remaining whites. You know this is done when you don't see any white anymore, where it's all the same color, basically the same color. Now I'm just going to pour it right into the pan. And just smooth the top with your spatula. I'm gonna bake this for about 25 minutes or so at 350. So this is what your souffle cake should look like after it's done and it's cooled. So before I release the sides, I'm just gonna cut the cake free with a butter knife. Okay, there you go. It is not so impressive before we garnish it, but just wait. First, I'm gonna top the cake with some whisked creme fraiche. I'm just whisking it to smooth it out. You could also use whipped cream. You don't wanna spread it all the way to the ends. You wanna leave a border of chocolate so people can see that it's chocolate. And then the cooled squash goes right on top. By the way, if a winter squash dessert doesn't turn you on, you could do this exact same thing with pears. I'm gonna garnish it with a cinnamon stick because I think it's pretty, but you don't have to. There you have it, a Thanksgiving dessert made better with chocolate.